Hey, what's good, Power People? This is the Power Living Purpose Podcast with David C. Henderson, and this is the health tip of the week. This week's tip is the mentally healthy way to actually improve your city. This week's tip is sponsored by American Health and Fitness Services, where we bring the fitness center to you through virtual diet and fitness services. And the website is AmericanHealthFit.com, and they want to remind you that homecoming and holiday season are coming up. And any fitness or health goal is possible when you work with a professional. You can get in shape and lose weight during the holidays with a professional. All right. Mental health is a term that has become more popular than ever, and rightfully so, because having the wrong perspective on a topic can cause poor mental health outcomes such as anger, stress, hopelessness, confusion, and more. Meanwhile, on the other hand, the proper perspective, mental perspective on a topic can cause positive mental health outcomes such as creativity, collaboration, thoughtfulness, and teamwork. By comparison, you can clearly see there are numerous benefits of having a proper mental perspective on something, while there are numerous dangerous and negative outcomes of having the wrong mental perspective on something. In order to demonstrate the vast difference, let's look at one of the most debated topics in human history all over the world, and that is how to improve the city that you live in. All right. Every election cycle in local politics, in America at least, which is every 4 to 6 years, leaders come and go as they are either replaced or reelected. But even the time in office by even the longest of the longest serving politician, it still pales in greatly in comparison to the actual amount of years that local citizens will live in a city during their lifetime. Therefore, that simple fact alone should make it abundantly clear to everyone that the most important leaders in a community have never been and will never be the elected leaders because they just come and go. It's the actual citizens themselves who have infinitely more collective power to directly impact their communities than any of those elected leaders. Now, you might say, how is that possible? I thought the leaders were in charge. No, they're not. The answer is simple. It's basic math. Okay. If you did the research as part of a detailed study, you could find out and calculate all the numbers that will tell you specifically the about the quality of a city. You can find out how many business licenses have been purchased in a city and how many are actively renewing and reporting income every year. You can look at the state records at any given time to see how many nonprofit organizations are licensed to operate there. And then you could try to figure out how many are actually active. In addition to that, you can find out the population of a city, the average income, the demographics of a city, race, gender, age, etc. You can also identify the most active and impactful community organizations, and then check with those organizations to find out how many active members they actually have. Furthermore, you can find out how many children are enrolled in local and public and private schools and the testing results, and find out what kind of extracurricular programs are offered and how many students are actually participating in those programs. You could look at local youth and school sports and find out how many children and teens are participating and find out how much money is generated by the game attendance each season. In terms of finances, you can find out which local banks have the most customers and their total assets and how much money they actually loan out to local citizens every year. Lastly, you can then look at yourself, and calculate the amount of community organizations that you are actively involved in and roughly how much time those organizations actually spend doing things that are beneficial to improving your city, not just talking, but actually doing things. Or if you're not involved with any local organizations, then you can look at yourself and calculate the time that you have spent independently doing something that's beneficial to improving the city. Either way, you should notice that not one time did I mention calculating the amount of time spent writing Facebook comments or making social media videos or just publicly complaining at the city council meeting without actually proposing a solution that you're going to be part of. And if you're wondering, then the reason why is because even if you add up all of those numbers and demographics of all that stuff that I talked about that tells you the quality of a city, that give a numerical representation of their success, none of those figures will ever be changed or improved by complaining. Not one single factor without working towards solutions, which is so that's extremely mentally unhealthy to just look at everything and complain, but you're not doing anything about it. So, on the other hand, there's an extremely simple and very mentally healthy plan that every successful city on earth has followed and currently follows in order to improve. It is comprised of two very simple parts. Number one, understanding the playing field. It's a sports analogy, but before any city can improve, citizens have to understand reality. And that is the fact that every city rises and falls based on the amount of businesses that it has, which provide local jobs, imports, exports, and a tax base, along with the amount of nonprofit or charity organizations in city or county, the quality of the city and county services, which all provide programs and services in order to improve the quality of life for citizens. It couldn't be more simple. Businesses, nonprofits, and the city county services, they function more as a nonprofit, in the way of a nonprofit. All right. So the next thing is to understand that nearly all of these organizations are run by individual citizens, and probably over 75% of the local businesses and franchises are owned by an individual person, somebody who said, I'm going to start something. I'm going to get together and even or I'm going to get together with other people, form an investment group, and we're going to start something. We're not going to just sit back and let our city not have the things we need. So probably 75% of businesses and every local organization is run by individual people. All right. So don't get me wrong. I never want to downplay the importance of having the best leaders possible, and I definitely encourage everyone over the age of 18 to exercise their right to vote in every election, 18 and over. However, falsely believing that elected leaders are the ones who have the most potential to improve the city is one of the biggest misconceptions or lies that has ever been told. Places like Silicon Valley, California, Orlando, Florida, Bentonville, Arkansas, Hershey, Pennsylvania, they're not successful because of the government officials that were elected there. No, they're successful because of the businesses that started. Some of those started in a garage, like Apple and Microsoft started in somebody's garage and grew to become multinational corporations that provide thousands of jobs. Bentonville, Arkansas. Who ever heard of that before Walmart? Who ever heard of Bentonville, Arkansas? What were they famous for? Nothing. Until Sam Walton started Walmart there. Hershey, Pennsylvania. The whole city runs off of the economy. The economy runs off of chocolate. One business runs a whole city economy. Orlando, Florida was a swamp before Walt Disney flew over and said, I'm going to buy that swampland and turn it into it. Now Disney, one of the most profitable companies on earth, one of the biggest companies on earth. And it started from nothing. The same thing that you can do. You can start something from nothing and grow it over time. So these businesses provide thousands of jobs and a tax base and donate largely to the community through nonprofits that improve the quality of life. At the end of the day, the only thing that even the best elected leaders really can do is just try to facilitate an environment for local citizens to thrive and become good leaders themselves, good business owners themselves, good employees themselves, active members of impactful nonprofits themselves, and overall productive members of society. So once everybody actually understands the playing field and how cities actually work economically through the power of local citizens, then that overall understanding can lead to the next and even more important step. Step number 2. It's a sports analogy also. Getting out of the stands and actually getting onto the playing field. So step 1 is understanding how the playing field actually works. Step 2 is to get off your butt and get out the stands and actually get onto the playing field. This sports analogy has been used countless times to help people Visualize the vast difference between fans and athletes, which represents the difference between passive and active involvement in the achievement of victory for a team. Just think of every NFL team. If every member of that team, from players and coaches and executives, were not part of that team for whatever reason, they didn't make it, they got hurt, whatever, they could all be doing something different in life and just coming to the game as a fan to support and cheer for the team. But while it's important to have good crowd involvement, it's a waste of potential if the people with the most skills are in the stands and they're not down on the playing field actually making things happen to win the game, as opposed to just making a lot of noise up there. However, the best fans that any team ever has are the ones who are the loudest, the ones who are the most passionate about their team. They are not shy about criticizing the coach, the players, or the executive when they see their team is not doing well. Nevertheless, they are also the biggest supporters of the team. Rain, sleet, snow, they are there. They'll do anything and everything in their power to help the team win. All right. And encourage the team to win. Well, my city, Tuskegee, and any other city, is just like a team. And unlike the NFL, everyone can actually get off your butt and come out of the stands and get down on the playing field and get involved with the game. And that is done also in a simple way. Option number one is by supporting local businesses and being involved with community organizations. The more you say you care so much. Okay, the more you care, the more you should put your money where your mouth is by supporting local businesses and show your support for community organizations through your active involvement or donations. Otherwise, they will never grow to their full potential. And these are not only the backbone, but they're the heart, the lungs, the hands, and the feet of every city. And without good businesses and nonprofits, a city will die slowly. Now, option number two, if you look around and you don't see quality businesses and quality organizations that are doing good things, then step up and start one of your own. This is the information age. You can start anything today, any type of business, any type of organization on your own. As the popular saying says, keep that same energy. And basically, that couldn't be more true because all of the same energy that's being used to just complain and make a lot of noise in the stands is the same energy that you can use to actually get off your butt and get down on the field and be part of creating a winning team. So, in conclusion, the mentally healthy way that every city on planet Earth from the beginning of time has ever used to improve is two simple steps: understanding the playing field and then getting out of the stands and getting onto the field. And you can do that by supporting local businesses and organizations and being active or starting one of your own. At the end of the day, it's literally that simple. I sincerely hope that we all clearly understand that absolutely nothing will ever get accomplished by just staying in the stands and complaining. The power to change and improve a city is, and always will be mostly in the hands of the people during the course of their lifetime, regardless of who's in office at any particular time. In the words of Booker T. Washington, my great uncle, in 1908, 114 years ago, cast down your buckets where you are. That is how you mentally improve. Thanks, and have a healthy, safe, blessed week. Stay powerful, my friends.